was a question. Okay, that was the one I was going to say. So she had her hand up first, and then I'll go to you.
Okay, so this is a question about Blackfish, but it's about like how are y'all dealing with the marketing blowback from Blackfish?
Okay.
Because like I know when people talk about it on Twitter, the SeaWorld Twitter account is like, hey, this is not the truth, and like they send them a link and it's great.
Right.
But has it like affected attendance or stuff like that?
So I'm glad you asked, because I was going to, I think I told somebody earlier, if you didn't ask, I was going to answer the question. Some people shy away from it, so I'm glad you asked. So if you don't know what Blackfish is, everybody knows what Blackfish is? That would be a good survey. How many people know what Blackfish is? Raise your hand. Everybody. Okay, well, 10 people. So, you don't need to know, it's okay.
Do you know the dress was white or gold or black or blue?
Which one is it? White or gold?
It's red.
So, Blackfish is a supposed documentary about our parks and what we do. It's made by some very skilled people who are good at editing and putting things together, but have their own agenda about what they want to do. And these people wake up every morning wanting to put us out of business. That's their ultimate goal. I don't get that, because I don't wake up wanting to put somebody out of business. I wake up with a different agenda, and I would think most people in the world do wake up with an agenda to do something positive, good, supportive, helpful. But that's okay. We live in a free country, and everybody gets to say the things that they feel and the things they need to do, and we're glad that we live in a free country and are able to do that. So when Blackfish came out, we did some things that we thought were being good, and we did some things that maybe we could have done a better job at. And the things that we thought were being good is we weren't sure how many people were actually going to see the movie. It was a small movie that was introduced to the Sundance Film Festival. Most of those movies, how many movies have you watched from the Sundance Film Festival? Many, right? A couple. So we didn't want to come out with anything against Blackfish, because if we did, we'd be promoting the movie. All right? They asked us, and they'll say in the movie, well, SeaWorld didn't provide us any input into the movie. Well, we knew it was negative. So anything we were going to say was going to be spun against us. So why participate, right? What we could have done better is, once it did come out, and once CNN purchased the movie, and CNN's your 24-hour trusted news source, right? They bought a movie, showed the movie. They actually did, I don't remember the exact number, but I'm going to tell you it's more than 200 stories on SeaWorld and the bad things SeaWorld's doing. That was 10 times more than any other outlet had ever done during that time about SeaWorld. So they were promoting the movie for their own channel. So what we didn't want to do is come out against them and promote the movie. We could have done a better job coming out and telling the truth. So we got a late start on telling the truth, and that's what you're asking about. Is we see on Twitter, well, we're going to debunk this myth, we're going to debunk that myth. There are thousands of lies throughout this movie, thousands. And so it was hard for us to get after it quickly. And we have them all out there. All that information about every single lie that's in that movie is out there. We have it on YouTube, we have it on Twitter, we have it on Facebook, all the social media sites that we have access to. We have not gone to mainstream media, TV and newspapers and radio, but you're going to see that very soon. So they've had their day. They've done all of that. From an attendance standpoint, it hasn't affected us here in Texas. Texans don't tend towards that side of the political equation, if you will. Orlando has not been. Orlando's a lot like Texas in that they don't have a lot of that either. Now, the only place that did really affect us, and I won't even say it's Blackfish, is more of the legislation that happened in California. That legislation was, somebody proposed, the ex-mayor of Santa Monica, who is now a representative, put legislation together that said no more breeding of killer whales and no more housing, or you can't move any killer whales outside of California. So the killer whales that we had in California would have to stay until they pass away. That legislation tended to hurt us because people think a little differently. I'm not criticizing, but people think a little differently in Southern California than they do the rest of the world. I can say that I'm from Southern California. I was born and raised there. I know what it's like, but some people certainly do think differently there. So it did have some impact there from that legislation piece. Now, the other part of this is that emotional bad news is better for the news than any good news that we have to share. So they definitely have one up on us. And this was really an emotion-based movie. They used a lot of things in there and misguided a lot of people as you go through the movie on a lot of things. And the moment I run out of breath, Tim can start talking about things that I do or don't talk about. But things like the trainer that is sitting there talking to you is Samantha Burke. She's there. She's got real frizzy hair, if you don't remember in the movie. she is sitting there talking to you about being an animal trainer. She's portraying that she's actually a shaman trainer. She wasn't a shaman trainer. And they're showing you a girl that looks a little bit like her riding on the back of the kilowog. It's not her, but it gives you the impression that it is, that she knows what she's talking about. She worked actually in Dolphin Stadium. Okay? She never really had any one-on-one interaction with her co-hosts. So she did not have that. So that was part of it. There were actually trainers that were in favor of us that were portrayed in the movie. Mark Simmons and Bridget Pearl both provided quotes for the movie. Both were interviewed for the movie, but those interviews were changed around to fit the agenda of what the filmmakers wanted to say. And they actually came back out after the movie and said, that's not what we said. Those are the words that we used, but you changed them into a different way to edit it to make it sound like we were against SeaWorld. And those trainers have actually come out against Blackfish since then. So I think that answers some of your question, but I could talk about this for hours because I obviously have a lot of passion for it, and I think we do great things. We have 1,500 people that work with our animals, trainers, animal care folks, veterinarians, that feel very, very strongly and very, very passionate about what they do. If we were doing anything that you saw in the movie, if we were really doing any of those things, it would be very easy for those 1,500 people to call us out and say, this is what you're doing, and that's what you're doing. We don't withhold food from our fish. Don't withhold fish from our killer whales. We do not separate babies from moms. We have not captured an animal in the wild in 35 years. There's a lot of things going on. And in fact, the things that we do in our parks are tremendous research for all the animals that are out in the wild. So the southern resident pod, which has a lot of killer whales in that southern resident pod off the coast of Oregon and Washington State, 77 of those animals currently exist in one pod. They have been dying. Last year, 3 of those died. That continues. They're dying primarily because of pollution and those sorts of things. But if those animals continue along that track in 25 years, that resident pond will be gone. Unless we do something about it, unless we research the animals that we have and make sure that we understand them and can improve the lives for animals in the wild. So that's one of the things we do. I mentioned all the animals that we rescue. We're out there rescuing 300 sea lions right now off Southern California coast. Ask yourself where Pete is. They're back writing tweets about SeaWorld. That's what they're doing. We rescued hundreds of, I think 80 cold stress turtles off of Corpus Christi earlier this year. Remember PETA being around to help us rescue those people, or rescue those turtles. So there's a lot of great things that we're doing to make sure that we do the right things. And I'll stop talking because there's a lot more. What other questions? Yeah.
How many interns do you actually employ throughout the summer? And can I send you an email tomorrow?
You can send me an email tomorrow, yes. It varies. Some departments will have 3 or 4. Some will have none one year because nobody applied in that specific area. So I don't know the exact amount. I mean, I know it's more than 10 or 15, I think, in all over the park. But yes, absolutely send me an email.
Yay, okay.
Dan.decker@seaworld.com. It's real simple.
Sounds perfect.
I guess I'll give Tim a chance to talk.
Great, good.
Yeah, good, because he
Out of
does.
breath.
So, coming from your background at SeaWorld, obviously you have a lot of experience with animals that goes to the Houston Zoo. Can you talk about like how the 2 jobs are like similar and how they might be different?
But it's the first thing I tell everyone about how similar they are is what Dan was just saying. The passion of the animal staff, care staff, is unmatched. And the people that work at our zoos, our parks, and aquariums across the country, they work there because they love animals, and that's why they come to work there. So the things the activists say, and the activists can say anything they want, they're not held accountable to any standards. And you have responsible companies like SeaWorld and zoos and other brands that they're accountable. So everything you say is out there for the public to know and regulated by federal, agencies and all that kind of thing. So the first thing I compare both of them, they're the same employees, the same passionate employees. My model's a little different now that we're a nonprofit at the zoo. So, we're in SeaWorld, we have capital and inflection from corporate office or wherever. Now my biggest change is having to go out and fundraise money. So, but the big similarity is the passion of the employees, which I always say first, and then the difference now is the nonprofit versus the profit world. So.
The funny challenge he has is he's got a couple of ex-SeaWorld employees working at the zoo and I don't think they know it, so they kind of walk right into his office and start talking about all the things they do.
Well,
And we have
what
some-
you were saying about Dan, how the employees love Dan. He's like the people's pope of all the parks. All the parks want Dan to come be the GM of their park. So I've learned a lot from him over the years, and I bring that to the zoo. where it wasn't as open doored as it was before I got there. It's open door now, so like employees are kind of scared to come in and talk to me, except the SeaWorld ones, because they know that